Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. We're back at the spin. We got Mr. Heat 1, Tyler Watkins, joining us, and second place around the whiteboard finisher, John Young.
Highway robbery.
That was a good battle. Yeah, if you guys did not tune in, go check out Coffee Pods and Wads, latest around the whiteboard. Yours truly, John Young. Yeah, I took him down. Yeah.
I didn't know we weren't supposed to answer the questions.
I answered the question.
You called it a nothing burger. And then you got 3
It was a
points
nothing burger, and then I explained why it was. And then also Jason CrossFit Media was there as well, or CF Media. All right. Interesting week. It's been kind of slow, but of course we always have something for you guys. We're going to start out with some viewer comments. We have a new mountain, but it's the biggest mountain of all. It is the Everest Elite. We'll have some blind rankings, some updates on the Masters games, kind of getting a little better perspective of why it's been set up as it was. I'm not sure it was always the best answer. And then we're going to finish up with some betting with the boys. So viewer comments. Let's see here. First one from Dan8712. Question for this week. Red Bull, My Protein, and Puma are all sponsors of High Rocks. Tier has the biggest footprint in the CrossFit space, if you agree or disagree. However, they are investing their money in athletes, not CrossFit. What is High Rocks doing that CrossFit isn't in order to obtain these sponsors while CrossFit has become almost solely reliant on companies already part of the ecosystem?
Do you want this first, or do you want me to take it first, John?
Go ahead.
I'll answer the High Rocks part. I'm not sure what the shoe part was.
I don't know.
The High Rocks part is it's what's hot right now. It is a cryptocurrency sort of situation. It's what's that the tulip situation in France. It's hot right now. You'd be dumb not to get in and make some money. I am skeptical on if it makes it past 3 years. The same thing happened with Spartan Race. It was hot for a while, and now it's sort of died back down. I'm skeptical on, do they change the event? Like, what do they do going forward? I was texting, I can't remember who it was about this, but it's like, I would want to do 1 or 2 High Rocks events. But after that, I can't really see doing any more.
Aren't we supposed to with Hitler and JR?
I don't know.
I forgot what
I'm
time
all for
it was.
But
are you guys going to do the Houston one?
When is that one?
I don't know. I thought we were supposed to be like partners, though. I'm down to just go do one and be by myself. Like, y'all just want everybody be for themselves, just go do one. But
I plan on doing one. But to answer that guy's question, CrossFit's a long game. It's different now, and it's different from High Rocks. So don't think, well, they're getting all the sponsors. That means, we're doing badly. No, it's just a different ball game. That's my take on it anyway.
John, thoughts?
I don't think High Rocks is bigger than CrossFit yet. So I
think it's a weird one because High Rocks gets more participation than CrossFit at a single event.
Right.
They're bigger than Wadapalooza. They're bigger than Madrid. So from that standpoint, if you think about sponsors,
are they bigger than the Open?
Not at one event, no. But a single event, it is.
Yeah.
Right?
How many are they pulling in a single event?
I've heard like somewhere upwards of 10,000. I think like they just run through a couple days and just. I mean, the elite and the pro have their own dedicated times. When you're in the community divisions, like it's just, I don't know how often it is, every 15 minutes or something like that. They just open a corral.
But it's because it's like a 5K. It's just much easier to run. You do the same thing every single time. There are no changing variables. You literally just need a space and you need the equipment, and then you're good to go. Like, it's so much easier to set up. and it's easier to do.
I think also it is, like Kenneth does say, it is bigger in the outside of the United States. It definitely is huge in Europe. I think it is starting to grow here. Christy O'Connell, Aramo O'Connell is I think she's going to the Houston one. I have my theories of Mal O'Brien possibly jumping in there. I put that on Twitter.
I like that as far as a theory goes.
I would love for Christy Aramo and Mal O'Brien to have like a rivalry, a High Rocks rivalry. And like they, just for a couple of years, them two just go head to head at whatever.
I like Christy in that matchup.
Me too, but just because she's a better runner, Mal's been running.
It's definitely it's very runner based. Now, once you're great at running, the actual CrossFit type movements too come into play. But if you can't row a pretty good pace, you're probably not going to be able to run a pretty good pace for the most part. So, and same with like ski is a non-event. Like there's a lot of them that are just, you're not going to get that big of an advantage on. But it would be fun to see Christine. It would be fun to see Mal if she decides to go that route. But for those who haven't been following her, Mal on TikTok started used hashtag High Rocks. So
how did you notice that? Do you just always look at the tags?
Yeah, because she doesn't really put a whole lot of a caption. It's like a one sentence thing, and then it's just a whole bunch of hashtags, and it was like the third one.
So it sort of stands out.
Every time she go ahead, Brian. Sorry.
Yeah, every time, and she always she's always been running long, like 10 miles. Has been doing like longer intervals on a bike, and she is doing CrossFit stuff, but you still have to be proficient at that. So, and I think she probably still enjoys it when she's not competing. So that is my theory, is like you would not tag High Rocks if you didn't have some thought about competing in High Rocks. It's the only time she's done it is one tag.
Do you have a stance on the money making part of that question?
Do you know
I think
how
it's
much
just
money they're making?
I mean, yeah, we don't know. Just because they have 3 bigger sponsors doesn't mean they're bringing in more than what CrossFit is for the CrossFit Games season. But I think they do have the ability to bring in a decent amount just from an in-person competition, right? If you have whatever 10 or 15, we're going to have 10,000 plus going to it and having family and friends go watch you. I mean, that's a huge amount to have there at an in-person competition.
This is called CrossFit.
Yeah, if High Rocks had a 5-rep 275 bench press, it would not be popular.
That's called CrossFit.
That's why High Rocks is the way it is. And I disagree with you, Tyler. I don't think they have to change.
You think they could hold the same events forever and people continue to compete?
That's what they've been doing.
Participate?
That's what they've been
doing. Yeah,
but they do the marathon, they do a half marathon. It never changes.
It's still.
I think it's out of brand if they do change, though. It's off brand.
To me, if they change the implements between the run, like I think they're totally able to do that, and I think at that point, CrossFit needs to be worried.
I think the most they would do is change the order of the implements that they already have, because it's not CrossFit. They want you to prepare for the same things. It's the same thing. They want you to train the same thing so you could do the same thing. It's not CrossFit. Like you're thinking of it, your mind is in CrossFit land. That's not them. They're endurance land.
My mind is not in CrossFit land.
Do the same thing over and over and over for hours on hours on hours to be good at that one thing. It's the same thing.
My mind is on, you need to change it. I just don't see people, and maybe this is where we differ. I don't see people continuing to want to do the same event over and over and over again because they're getting people who don't do the same training. They're not getting training people. They're getting people who are just work out.
You're not doing it over and over and over again, right? Like there isn't a High Rocks every week that's easily accessible. So
no, but what he's saying is you train.
You could do it one
year for the same thing.
Yeah, but you could do it this year, and then you have a goal for next year.
Yeah, you do
How
that
many
3
does
years
that
in a
last,
row.
though, is what
That's what
Tyler's
I'm saying. 3 years in a row, and you're done.
And I agree with Tyler. I think most people will find a plateau. Like they'll improve, and then they hit their peak. They don't improve anymore, and then they look for something more interesting.
Like what? Like a lot of these are runners.
Different things,
right?
like just something different, cycling or triathlons or whatever. Like people like to jump around once they've hit their peak in a certain thing. They do it all the time.
Right. And I think there's plenty of people that like 5Ks or marathons who are going to say, I want to do something different. And so they jump in while others do high rock. So like it may not grow to be some crazy thing, but it'll still be what it is now. Like it's not going to decline in 5 years, in my opinion.
Well, we'll take that on betting with the boys. That'd be the futures.
There you go.
In 5 years.
Yeah, Jason CF Media, the guy who tied in second today with John.
Okay,
that's what,
Brian. We
that's
get
what
it.
Ethics
You
is
won.
doing.
Good job, Brian.
So the same model for 1 year, and then the next year they change. So that's what we watched at FitFest. We watched one of the endurance piece of it, one part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they would change it every year, and so it's always something different. So it's a different type of
high rocks,
but it's a little bit more, I would say, CrossFit based, because they had like a front squat, back squat, or something like that, or push press. So
Jason, I personally don't think it's a threat to CrossFit at all. For people who think it's a threat to CrossFit, I think both can survive. I think both can thrive. Because
I just want to tell Jason he should probably go to bed. It's like midnight or later over there. It's got to be.
Yeah, it's definitely late.
There are too many people in this world who like weights for CrossFit to die. Like it's not. High rocks is for people who do not like weightlifting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and if you
100%.
like weightlifting at all, you're not going to be swept over to high rocks. Like,
no, but I think there's CrossFitters will still want to try it.
Yeah,
and there's way more people who don't want to do weightlifting.
It's not a threat to CrossFit. I don't think we should look at it as it's a threat to CrossFit. I think both can thrive.
Yeah. Yeah, almost 1 a.m. And they say that people in Europe can't watch live. So it just depends on how dedicated you are. Second comment at Riley5782. Do you think there's any possibility that Mao would do the Open just to get the 15 grand because the workouts tend to be great for her and then just not do the rest of the season?
Just bounce. I love that idea.
That would be so
Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
See ya. See you losers next year.
Open. And listen, that would only make people talk about her. Like, dude, if Mal was in it, I think she would be, she could be a threat, and she can't because the Open is not the games, no matter how many people want to say this. But that would be hilarious.
Yeah, I wonder how much really compete. Just try it.
I wonder how much she could make from doing high rocks and then just come over to the Open and then go back to
you'll make nothing from high rocks. I don't think Hunter makes more than the winnings you get from competing is way less than his sponsorships.
Right.
That money is way down there.
He's Matt Fraser of high rocks.
Oh, easily.
I think he's more than
he might be. He might be more.
Well, what I'm saying is, this is why I don't think it's a threat to freaking CrossFit, because he makes what he makes. We don't know how much he makes, but it's not what third place makes at the CrossFit Games. His whole winnings of 3 years. You know what I mean? It's not, and he's like high rocks Jesus. Like he's untouchable in that world.
Kenneth thinks it's less than 10K. Definitely less than 20,000 for a win.
More than that, man. He's got sponsors.
I think for a win.
I love the speculation. I think we're going to go with it, Kenneth. It's in law.
That's right. As factual as what we're going to come up with. So yeah, we're just going to take Kenneth's word for it, and we'll just call it 15K.
The $150,000 prize purse for the 23-24 season.
That's the total season.
The entire season.
That's for the, let's see, for it's a $42,000 prize purse for the 4 regional major races.
So 12,000 a piece.
Yeah, it is. It's a very poorly written article. It's it's very hard to find.
I hear they can find a consultant at the barbell spin.
Yeah, this is some rockslife.com. Yeah, they don't really say how much you can actually win other than the 4 regionals, which is only 42,000. So you figure between the top 3 plus the men and women, that's not a whole lot of money there. So I would say Kenneth is probably in the right ballpark of 10,000. Yeah.
Thanks, Ken. Correspondent Ken.
But that would be pretty interesting though if Mal was just like, yeah, I'm going to do the open,
bounce
crush you guys, and then I don't feel like putting that much pressure on me. I'm going to go do something else for fun.
I do think she would do well at the open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Last one at John George 9423. So athletes should still have to be in the testing pool throughout the suspension. If they do not agree, they should not be allowed back until they complete 4 years consistently in the pool. So this goes back to last week and whether they should be tested. It also, Tyler, did you watch our show this
I
afternoon?
watched some of the highlights. I watched pretty much the end where John put up a big fight about losing.
So, Jason, have a good night or good morning.
I'm going to answer CrossFat's question real quick. Brian,
which one?
Between the 3 on the screen, who wins High Rocks? Who wins a High Rocks race?
I would win it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, we have no choice.
And so one of Pedro's questions today was about the suspension is 4 years the right length. I threw a curveball, and the reason I won is because I said that if CrossFit should allow an athlete to give a name of somebody else who's been using
North Korea style. I like it.
And then my thought
then Peter basically gave him 6 points for this because he got, I believe those 3 points on the third question was from this second question. Still.
I'd like that. I mean, I hate it, but I like it.
But here it is. If you get it right, if it results in a positive test, right? So you accurately tell CrossFit that somebody was using, they tested positive.
You get docked.
You get a 1 year reduction. So now it goes from 4 years to 3 years. If
can you do 4 and just limit it out?
So that was thrown out there. I would say no.
But so like once Ricky popped, he comes out with a Garrard list of like 7 names.
Yeah. All right. Go kick me out. Okay.
But if you are wrong, my thought is you have to pay for that drug test.
I mean, if you're confident.
I said if you were wrong, they add another year to your suspension.
Well, then, see, they would never, because of HIPAA, they would never let you see if they were right or wrong. And say someone important was doing drugs and say CrossFit wanted to keep that on the DL, you would never be able to say, like, you'd never be able to prove that CrossFit was lying about it. So I would never go for that deal unless I was 100% sure that person was doing drugs.
Hey, Spin, I think Hiller could get out of his suspension.
If he asks for a drug test?
Yeah.
Because he says he knows like 4 people.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I just thought it was something interesting. Like, you don't have to. There you go. Get with the programming, add a year to the suspension and pay for the test.
Okay. I like that. Right. I think the adding a year would almost be like it would make people dig in a little bit harder about whether they wanted to do it over the money.
Yeah, that's fair.
You gotta be real confident.
Yeah.
Right. And so like my thought is if you're hanging around with the wrong people and they're using and they're going to the semifinals.
All of a sudden people just start showing up to camps to see if people are doing drugs.
I 100% think like it would self-police itself. The sport would self-police itself.
Right.
Well, that's why I said the North Korea method, because they do that. Like if you tell on your friend that you're in the good graces of North Korea, but everybody's telling on everybody. And so it's just North Korea is not the best place to be. So I tend to lean against that, but
yeah, I just thought it was some interesting, different way to self-police. I mean, we only did 26 out of competition tests this past year. All of them were the top athletes of the sport. I think we had close to 10 test positive. So, if you know somebody else, I mean, a lot of them say they do. All right, let's see if you do. And then you tell CrossFit, and then they go do the test, and then you find out. So that is it for viewer comments. So if you're watching, go throw some comments down below, and we will pick out a couple next week.
We need a crowd cheer button at the close of that.
We do. I don't know if we have that
technology.
That technology, yeah. All right, next topic, the Everest Elite. So we've had the Games Mountain, we've had Rookie Hill, we've had Comeback Canyon, but the biggest mountain of all is Everest. And if you want to be elite in the sport of the CrossFit, only a handful can be up there. So John has come back with the top of Everest, and we're going to take a look and see who the best athlete is, but it's a little different than what you might be thinking. So
you want me to explain it before we pull it up? Are you able to pull it up empty?
Do I have it? Not up there. Hang on a second. Go ahead and explain while I pull it up.
Okay. So what this is, and this tells you how we don't have anything to talk about for this week, because when we don't have anything to talk about, I just have to come up with some mountain like this.
Some sort
and
of.
And I ran out of topography, so I was like, let's just do a bigger mountain. So anyway, this is the fittest of all time. Basically, an all-time mountain of people at their peaks. So, for instance, 2018 Patrick Vellner. 2018 Patrick Vellner was the best year that he has had. He might have been fitter since then, but I believe Patrick Vellner was at his peak in 2018, and he's kind of just held that same peak through 2023. Been hurt some years, some weird years. So I have years attached to these names, okay? And basically it's like who I think the actual fittest person of all time. So like we're gonna go top to bottom.
Yeah,
because
we can't. I thought we could. We can't. Otherwise, it'll reveal the whole thing at once. So we're going from bottom to top.
Okay. Well,
nice.
I mean, people can probably figure out though. Like here's the thing. Like you could probably figure out that part.
I think they'll be surprised by who's at the top.
I want to make one point is the top 10. Okay, and when we get there, the top 10 is the 10 fittest people I think we've ever seen in the world, like ever in history. And like the performances that they put in this set of years are the top 10 fittest beings we've ever seen of all time. After that, it gets a little bit where I kind of tier it up. So, and I'll explain those tiers as we go. Can we save the last part for the last bit? It's just the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
So go ahead. First line.
So one thing to think about is when you look at this list, like Kristen Holta really can't ever move up the mountain.
She can't. No, and a lot of these people are either done with their careers, but this was the fittest peak of their career, and I believe they are one of the fittest people of all time in this very moment.
Yeah. So at the very bottom, we have Ariel Lowen, 2023, Kristen Holta, 2019, along with Jamie Green, who's now Simmons, 2019, BKG, 2019, Sam Quant of 2020, Carrie Pierce of 2020, and Lucas Hogberg of 2018.
So this bottom row.
What's wrong there, Tyler?
Oh, so the years matter. So that the iteration,
so it's not their entire career
matters.
It's not their entire career. It's like at this point they were at the peak of their fitness abilities, and I believe this is a mountain of the fittest of all time in any given moment. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So like if you could drop Samuel Quant in a vacuum with 2021 Roman, I'm saying Samuel Quant wins. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And now, so the bottom row here is basically 2019 and 2020. Those are weird, really weird years, but these people had amazing performances. So I believe I felt they deserved to be on the mountain, even though like I couldn't really put them very high. And then Ariel Lowen and Lucas Hogberg were very outstanding third places, very convincing third places. And that's why they are where they are. They had distanced themselves from fourth place, which is not the case very often.
Another way, and tell me if I'm wrong about this, John, but the other way to think about this, especially with the years, is if you put that person in current day games, they would likely come in top 5 or at any point in the games.
Sure. So until we get to the top 10, I looked at it as how you were versus your peers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does that make sense? Now, top 10, like these are the fittest people I think ever. I think you put them in the world today that they will rank accordingly. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go ahead and spoil it a little bit. Like 2023 Roman is ahead of these people.
Sure.
Because his fitness ability is fitter than these people. Does that make sense? Even though some people will have won or come second or whatever, have a higher ranking than him. But it's how you rank towards your peers, how superior you were towards your peers until we get to the top 10.
Okay.
All right. Next line. All right.
Next line. We got Jason Kalipa in 2013. He was a very convincing second. Everybody will know this year for Kalipa because he had like 3 straight first place. Won both rows together, 2,000 and the half marathon, and then he won the Burden Run, one of the greatest events of all time. Honestly, kind of choked away first, but that's okay because there's a guy a little bit higher than him on this list who he choked it away to. Camille should be 14, Brian.
Oh, my bad.
So we got a little bit of a typo, but Camille Levant in 14, Annie in 2012. I struggled with Annie because Annie's fitter in 2021. But this was her most convincing win. So, and this is how you rank towards your peers. That's why that distinction is so important because there is a fitter version of Annie, but she was head over heels better than anybody in 2012. Same for Sam Briggs in 2013. I think Sarah should have won the games in 2015. If they did the minimum work requirement, she would have, but she didn't. Sarah had 2 of the greatest years of all time, and it's a travesty where she's been since then because people have forgotten just how awesome she was. People thought she was the next Rich Froning, and she turned out not to be. And then you got the girl who beat her right next to her, and that's Catherine.
Any comments there, John or Tyler?
It's hard because my brain keeps wanting to put that like not the year that they are, just the fittest human that's ever existed, like across and to me, like I consider the time frame that they've done the sport. Like Lucas Hogberg, I really like him. Like if we did it based on my rules, I really like him where he is because he's been doing the sport a long time. And he's been a really fit human for a long time. With Katrin, her in 2015, like I get why she's on the mountain, but like if you put her in today's standards, I don't
100%. But this is not today's standards.
I understand.
And I thought about this. I did, and that's why I want the distinction of the top 10 to be very hallowed ground. Okay, yeah. Because these people deserve a spot here. They're what they made CrossFit what it is. The CrossFit Games at least. And but like if you want to be honest, Alex Gazan right now would beat everybody on this list so far. Like
I think,
and she's
that's the hard part of comparing Alex versus
right. And
Sarah,
the top 10, you can look at it like that. The top 10, 100% look at it like that. I can't just make a list of 2023.
I think that another way to phrase this is like if you kind of took a Hiller spin on it, where he like ranked people based on their Instagram followers. but it's the amount of entertainment that they've brought us. So like Jason Khalipa in 2013, we knew he was training like crazy. We knew he had put in a ton of work, and he was really, really fun to watch at the games that year. I know that's not what this mountain is, but I think it sort of captures that, because the same thing happened with Sarah that year. And so it's
you're
like,
right, you're right. And it will round out in the top 10. There's a hard distinction there. Okay.
With Sam Quant, it's almost it almost is sort of reverse. He's not brought, and I hate saying this about Sam, but it's sort of true. He hasn't been the most entertaining athlete to watch, but he's always there, and he's been there for a long time. So I think this mountain would line up 1-to-1 with what I'm saying.
Jack
and that's why they're low.
Robertson, you're doing well so far, John.
Yeah. I like it. It's just it's hard.
Y'all right. I'm not talking about Ariel Lowen. I'm talking about Katrin and Sarah. I was on that second line. I'm sorry. Ariel Lowen would beat all of these people on the freaking mat. Y'all have everything so literal. God. All right, next line.
All right, next line.
All right, now this tier is
Are we in the top 10 here?
Nope.
This is the 11 through 15.
Okay.
Yeah, this tier is definitive second places in Ben Smith. Okay. Ben Smith beat Matt Fraser, right? I mean, that's amazing. Now, different Matt Fraser, but he did. And he was a definitive second in 2016, too. There was nobody close to him in 2016, so I think that deserves praise as well. Noah Olson about won the games, and I'm glad he didn't, because he wouldn't get credit for it, quite frankly. If he did, he would not get credit for it.
Because it was 2019?
Yes. So just the way the whole games were that year.
Does
but I do think
does anybody know who the unknown is? Because he should join and watch.
Oh no, I don't know this person.
I could use some donations, but that dude was just throwing down on Savon.
We can talk about scoring if he wants to donate $400. I'll talk scoring all day long.
I really feel bad a little bit for Noah, because I think the fittest Noah's ever been was 2019 and 2020. I think his greatest years, just him peak physical fitness, were those 2 years, and it's extremely unlucky.
Yeah,
because how good he was in 2019, I think you put him in a regular year, he might be third or second period still. Yeah, and he just won't get the credit for it, and it's sad. Cara Rev, that race with her and Tia was amazing. One of the greatest games, probably the greatest CrossFit Games we've ever had, and that race made it what it was. Emma Lawson was a very convincing second in 2023. I value the higher years a little bit more because we're fitter now. It is what it is. Go ahead.
Does Tyler think that Tia quit on the last lunge?
Do you think Tia quit?
She did. She mentally quit.
I hope there's lunging in an open workout, and I'm just gonna clip every time you put the dumbbells down. You quit here. You see that? You see how you quit here?
Yeah.
I won't. Now that you say that, I will prioritize that over every other piece in a workout.
I struggled really hard between Brent Fikowski and Vellner in 2018, because Fikowski was closer to Fraser by like 4 points this year than Vellner in 2018. He was ahead of third place by like 100 points. He was a very convincing second. But I feel like Vellner has held his peak better than Fikowski has. And he's had better placings than Fikowski has, and it just did not feel right. So, like, I'm going to say Fikowski in 2017 had the best year out of him or Vellner either. But you give me peak Vellner or peak Fikowski, I'm going to take Vellner. I'm going to take Vellner. So
it's not
though this
Trent's
year
fault.
It is his fault. Be fitter.
No, his body is such that like he is at the behest of the programming. He can't help that.
I don't even.
Yeah, but I don't know how you go from podium. I don't know how you go from podium to what was he 2 years ago at the games?
16.
Right. Like that's a huge. I mean, I don't think you can blame the programming on that.
probably not that. But what I'm saying is peak Brent versus peak Fikowski. I'm picking,
Brent
peak
Fikowski.
Fikowski versus peak Vellner. I'm picking Pat every time because of his build alone. If I don't know any of the programming, I'm always picking Pat.
But I will say, I think it's important to say this 2017 year that Fikowski, he was dominant over the entire field except Matt Fraser.
Yeah.
And in a way more dominant way than Vellner ever has been.
He made me nervous that year because I really thought, I was like, oh, we're looking at the future.
All right. Now we are in the top 10. And now this next line and up, these are the fittest people that I think we've ever seen. Now this goes in the category of true actual fitness, right? Ricky Garrard has not achieved what Brent Fikowski or the champions below here have achieved. But 2022, Ricky Garrard, and I think 2023 would be there too. He just, he didn't compete, was one of the fittest human beings we've ever seen. And honestly, quite frankly, I think he got in his head a little bit that he was in the lead, and it made him suffer a little bit. I don't think I think Justin Medeiros has to be on this list. You can't be the fittest man in the world 2 years straight and not be on this list. I know he's kind of fallen off, but these 2 years, I'm not going to say he was dominant, but I do think he's one of the fittest people that we've ever seen. I think 21-22 Medeiros beats 19 Noah Olson, beats 17 Fikowski. I think he's fitter than everybody that we've seen on the list so far. And honestly, Vellner, because 2 of Vellner's best years, he beat him. Now,
what about Garrard versus Smith? 15.
Ricky would destroy Ben Smith.
I don't know, dude.
100%. Nope. No doubt in my mind.
No
doubt in my mind. Current Ricky Garrard. Look at the stats, man. People weren't as strong back then. The top people were.
You
but
can't
the middle
do
weren't.
that. How are you going to make he can't help that he was born 3 years later or whatever.
No, but that's the point.
Later.
That's the point. That's the point. Like, you dropped 2022 Ricky Garrard into 2015.
Yeah, but if
Ricky would destroy Ben Smith.
If you gave Ben Smith the other side of that, which is like years forward and the sport being where it was, I think Ben Smith wins. He was more consistent.
Say it again.
So consistent because Ben Smith was the product of his era. You can't say, well, if we drop Ricky into 2015, of course he'll win. But you can't not make that argument for Ben.
Why, of course?
Because the sport is better now than it was in 2015. But you have to give Ben that.
This is the
you have to give Ben that for 2022.
No, you don't. Because that's
yes, you do. You
difference.
Can't give it to Ricky and then not give it to Ben. That doesn't make any sense.
You can't you can't say Ben Smith would be better than what he was.
Then you can't take Ricky Garrard back in a fucking
that's
DeLorean and say, oh, yeah, you'll win.
Do you see what I'm saying, Brian?
I see what you're both saying.
That's the distinction between the top 10
it's a nothing burger.
Versus you.
2022 Ricky Garrard is fitter than 2015, 2016 Ben Smith.
Where does Ben
That
Smith
is the
finish?
point of this mountain.
Where does Ben Smith, 2015 Ben Smith, finish at the 22 games?
6th.
So who was? I gotta look this up. 2022 CrossFit Games.
And I'll put a deep dive on it. We'll look at the events and we can look at his paces on things he did back then, and I can tell you exactly where he.
We won't come to anything concrete. It's all theoretical.
So Ricky would beat him. Quant finished 4th, Adler 5th.
I think he finishes behind Patrick Vellner. Yeah, so 7th.
I think it's tough to compare. Like, you're basically saying 2012 Rich Froning has he'd probably finish 32nd.
Yeah, he would.
Right.
But listen, that's the point of this. When I tried to make this is why I wanted that freaking line, Brian, that you couldn't make. I wanted a line between the top 10 and everybody else, because the top 10 are the fittest people actual fittest we've ever seen. And then underneath that is how you are to your peers. You have to divide those two. Okay? If you're saying, and you said it too, Tyler, you're like, you can't do that. I am doing it. Play by that rule. If 2022 Ricky Garrard and 2015 Ben Smith went against each other, Ricky Garrard would destroy Ben Smith.
Yeah. And
that's why he's ahead.
Me in 4 years on TRT would also destroy all those guys.
No, I don't think you could take TRT for 20 years and not be close to Ben Smith.
I don't know, dude.
All right,
Science, bro.
Like, I think Mal O'Brien destroys every girl on this list.
Mal doesn't deserve to be on this list.
It's not a resume. You're so like you have to understand what I'm trying to say. Mal O'Brien in 2022, that body, Mal O'Brien's 2022 is fitter, like that peak fitness.
I understand.
Is one of the fittest humans we've ever seen.
I agree. But I don't think
that's
she
the
should be on
point.
the list. I don't think she should be on a list where she's ever over Cara. Period.
This is a very absolute top 10 versus a relative ranking.
After the top 10, it's how you rank towards your peers. The top 10 is the actual fittest people we've ever seen. In actual fitness, not who was good back in the day.
Right. That's the big difference between you and Tyler and me.
And
all right, let's look at the next.
Unfortunately, it's my mountain.
It is.
All right, next three. You know, Roman and Jeff have not done close to what Vellner has done. And I think they are both fitter than anything Vellner's ever touched in 2023. Roman got hurt. It's unfortunate. Laura Horvath, 22-23, Laura Horvath, I think, is the second fittest woman of all time, ever. We've never seen fitness that Laura Horvath has except for one person.
Do you agree with that one, Tyler?
Yeah, I would agree with Laura. I'm fuzzy on Adler. Like, I kind of want to kick him down a peg, but I won't. I don't disagree that probably he should be where he is. And Roman, yeah, he's free. I agree with this line.
Yeah, the one I struggle with is Medeiros and Adler. Like Medeiros in 21-22, I think may have won.
Not close. No.
Last year.
We'll see. This year we'll know. We'll know this year, right? Because Medeiros won't concuss himself. And, Jeff should be the same. But when Ricky wins, it's really going to throw a bind in y'all's rankings.
I have a feeling I'm getting ready to argue about this next line.
All right, this next line is going to be interesting. Here we go. Next to last.
Miko Stalo.
No.
All right.
Froning 2015 to 2018. And
now the reason I have those years for Rich Froning is because Rich in an interview in either 2015 or 2016, I do not remember, said this is the fittest I've ever been. And I think everybody would agree that Rich would probably win the games in 2015. It's not – he continued to get fitter. Even though he went team, he continued to get fitter. Now, where that stopped, I don't know. That could have been all the way to 2020. I'm not in mayhem. I don't know. But – and I know Chase said 2018 Rich would have beaten 2018 Vellner, and we had an argument there. But he seemed to have an inside track on that knowledge. So I'm going to defer that Rich. It's hard to say anybody's fitter than Rich, than one person, right? And I'm not going to, because Rich Froning is, I think Rich Froning, you can put him against any competition, he would find a way to be better at somehow. Except for one guy who he just, quite frankly, I don't think he touches, right? Tia Toomey, the reason why Tia Toomey doesn't have a whole bunch of years next to her is 2021 was the most dominant year we've ever seen from an individual ever. 2021 was even better than 2020, right? I struggle with the year 2020 because, you go against 5 people. 2021, Tia Toomey won 9 events, won by 256 points. And what else did if y'all remember that yoke workout, she about did the 4-round yoke workout in 1 round, the yoke carry burpee over the hay bale workout. 2021 was Tia's most dominant year. And I think of 2020, I feel like I just gave Rich credit. But I think of 2020 and I think about Atlanta. Who was waiting on who? between Tia and Matt. Who was waiting on who? Tia was not fitter than Matt. I don't think Tia's been fitter than Matt. Peak Matt Fraser is the fittest person we've ever seen. And that's why he's number one.
18 to 20.
And I say it started in 2018 because 2018 was probably the most complete year we've ever seen. He won the Open, he won regionals, and then he won the games by 220 points, a record margin. I don't think anybody's had as complete a year as Matt Fraser had in 2018. I say 2020 because, I think 2020 was the actual fittest he's ever been. But it's hard to say that. I can't quantify.
2020 through a lot of these people, their careers either were paused and delayed a year or ended to some degree.
And you guys,
two of those years are weird years.
I'm putting, hold on. Right. People are saying, Rich beat Matt in 2014. This isn't 2014 Matt Fraser. It's 2018 to 2020 Matt Fraser. Go look at the times. Go look at the runs. Go look at the runs, the lifts, the times, everything. Go look at Awful Annie. Rich Froning did Awful Annie in front of everybody on YouTube. And Matt beat him by 3 minutes in a power clean GHD workout. Rich can't touch Matt Fraser in peak fitness. And you guys are on crack if you think he can't. He's a better person. I think he's nicer. It doesn't mean he was peak better than Matt Fraser. He's just not. If you want to say he's the GOAT because of how successful he was, I'll even buy that argument because he's done way more for CrossFit. He's a little like Michael Jordan. He's exploded the sport, right? Now, I will buy that GOAT argument. It does not mean his peak fitness was better than Matt Fraser's peak fitness. There's not numbers that back that up. And y'all are on crack if you don't think. Show me the proof where any of those two are better than him in those years. Ever. There is none.
I'll ignore
and that's the Everest Elite. That's the all-time.
The thing that I don't like is there is a recency bias built into it. There's no way, if you've competed in recent years, there's no way you can beat someone who hasn't. But I'll ignore that for a minute. And I say it would be fair, the most fair, if we switched Tia and Matt. I think.
If it's a resume thing, sure. But that's like saying, I think Patrick Mahomes has probably played the quarterback spot better than Tom Brady has. Tom Brady's the GOAT because he has 7 championship rings, right? It doesn't. But if you're 1/4 quarter, who are you going to take? Some people would take Patrick Mahomes because they think he's better, even though his resume is not Tom Brady. That's kind of the argument that I'm going to make with Matt Fraser. Matt Fraser didn't do as much, but he was fit.
The thing that I'll throw in there is that Tia would have been a 2-sport Olympic athlete had it been not for some stupid rule that no one cares about. No one else has done that, including your Jesus Matt. She did all the same things as Fraser and has won more games than Fraser. And I think because she's I don't want to turn this into a sex thing, but I think you would have more respect for her if she were a guy because she's physically stronger.
Well, then we could, we could see her versus Matt if she was a guy.
Right. What I'm saying is I think that's a fair compromise in that it's your mountain. We don't have to compromise, but I think Tia is actually.
I just think of them in workouts straight up. I think every workout we've seen them do together straight up, Matt wins. Look at the Open 19.5. They did that together. Matt kind of dominated, right? Look at another Open workout where they had the bar muscle ups and the burpees. Matt dominated. You look at the games workouts wherever they were the same workouts. Matt's times were better. Every single workout. Unless it's a freaking run swim where I get it. Tia's a better swimmer. But Matt's times are better in every metric whenever they do the same workouts, 90% of the time. Go look at 2020, anytime they did the workout that was the same workout, or 2019 or 2018, Matt was better.
In those years.
Which is, those are the years I have.
But not in 2021. See, it's funny to me because you're willing to give Matt the argument that you.
I don't think Tia got fitter in 2021. I just think it was the most dominant year that she had, so I decided to put that year for her.
Right, but they finished by roughly the same margin over their competitors.
Yeah, there's better competitors on the men's side than the women's side.
But this shouldn't matter on the relative side.
It's not that I don't have respect for Tia because she's a woman. It's that I think there are better men to go against Matt than there are women to go against Tia. The best woman, the fittest woman in the world right now can't even do handstand push-ups.
That's a good point. Well, a certain kind of handstand push-up. All right, but now we have a mountain, but there's
a base
little
camp
bit more to this. There's not a base camp because
I do think we need to appreciate the people that came before and know they wouldn't hold a candle to anybody that's on the current Everest Elite, but we need to appreciate them and what they've done for the sport. So what we have here is called the Icon Retirement Home. And this is for all of the greats that are now old.
Is Graham in here?
Graham,
there he is.
All right, and listen, and the Icon Retirement Home is awesome, man. They got axe throwing. There's a catwalk in there for people who want to run. They have rehab. They have rehab on at your disposal for like Achilles and blown eardrums, maybe a knee. They got playgrounds with live-long cages instead of killer cages for Josh Bridges.
It's when Graham Holberg still took his shirt off.
Yeah. Oh, I remember he stopped taking his shirt off.
I think Miko.
I remember that.
Miko doesn't live in this. He lives outside it somewhere in a shed.
Yeah, it's a 6x6 shed
right.
with a rower.
Yeah, and a sauna, and that's it.
And I'm going to say these were the greatest of all time before CrossFit kind of got. But I would say before they were the legitimate fittest men and women on earth, right? Like I don't think until Rich started winning, which I know I have Dan Bailey 2015, but until Rich started winning, I don't think the fittest man on earth was the winner of the CrossFit Games. And I don't think the fittest woman on earth was the fittest in the world until probably Camille, because there was a big jump between 2013 and 2014.
Yeah, it's funny because I remember those days, and that like 2012 is like the fittest on earth, and I was like, are they? And then like around about 2014, I was like, no, they're the fittest on earth.
I mean, you see what's winning the snatch back in these days. Like it's
bad.
It's rough. But I do think they deserve to be here, and that's why they're on the Icon Retirement Home. Icon for Chris Spieler's Icon Athlete podcast that he had a few years ago. I don't know if anybody will remember that, but I remember that. And they should be appreciated.
Yeah, these are the ones that, other than maybe Bailey 2015, that set the stage for what we know now. So, well, there you have it.
There you go. Good job, John.
That was more of an angry list than anything. I had a freaking.
Well, you took a much different approach than I think many have done in the past.
Yeah, you did.
Right? Like this was an the top of was much more absolutist than relative, which sets up your own a debate.
And I mean, and if you want to go relative, Rich isn't even in the top 3 then. If you want to go relative, he never won the games by more than 50 points.
Yeah,
right.
Games was also
right. Tia would be first, Matt would be second. They'd be very close to each other, and then I know Annie probably be third. You'd have to go back a ways, but if you want to go by like who beat who by the most, you know what I mean?
Right. No, that's that. It's what makes rankings, especially when you go back across generations in a sport that, Rich was winning in year 5 of the games. That's way different than year 15 of the games.
It's not even comparable to because you can have an argument between LeBron and Michael. The game is different, but it's not that different, right? So it's not that hard to compare. Whereas us, it's like the caliber of athlete is just totally different now than ever was in 2012. Like
yeah,
they
I mean,
couldn't even
basketball,
fathom
it's
that
like
fitness.
looking at Wilt Chamberlain versus Shaquille. Right?
Yeah,
It's
that's a really
different era. The sport was way different. Like that.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like it's a similar comparison.
Yeah.
All right. Time for some
Good old
blind rankings. Blind ranking. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I need to calm down. Everybody's making me mad. And it's not. I'm not mad because people are arguing. Y'all are just so wrong. And it hurts me. It hurts me that you're that wrong because like you won't just freaking. You're blind. You just like Rich Froning more.
Yeah,
and you can't get off of it. And I get it. I like Matt's a hard guy to like. It doesn't mean that he's not as fit. You just like Rich more.
Once I figured out how you were doing in the middle when we got into our argument, I didn't truly grasp what you were doing. I understand. And based on your rules, I think you're right. I agree with you. I just don't like the rules. That's the only thing.
Wad Zombie, we like Rich more. Matt hates CrossFit.
and I'm with y'all. Y'all like I wasn't until like a year ago, but like I like Rich more too. Rich is a great guy. It does not mean he's fitter.
Yeah. Jacqueline Robertson, first, thank you for becoming a member. And then she says, I'm sorry, you guys are wrong. You should all feel bad. John.
I said, I feel bad for you. Y'all should feel bad.
Must suck to be this dumb all the time.
This week's blind rankings. Open movements. So think of it this way: as you put a movement in the open, it's a very good placement. You should have it in the open as a test for hundreds of thousands of people, right? So, any questions?
No, I get it. This one's actually, I like this one. It's more simple.
Yeah. So, Talking Elite Fitness did their own take on it. I didn't realize they did it. I already had mine set up, but guess we're thinking alike. They added favorite movement, least favorite movement. This is ranking open movements. So, first one, wall walks.
5.
I did a workout with wall walks today.
I do them every week. They're great, but I don't think they.
No, I'm with you. I don't
think they speak to the broad capacity of fitness.
Oh, I don't even care. I just don't like them very much.
John's playing by my rules this week.
Wall walks are there because y'all can't handstand walk. That's why they're there. I'm like, can we just freaking handstand walk? I'm with you. 5.
Down to 5.
I like them. I like them in a workout. They suck. They're about like burpees. Like you get 15 in and you're like, okay, can I be done now?
All right. Next one. A 1 rep max lift.
3.
How are we ranking? How do we want to rank?
What I'm thinking is
it just what we like? Because obviously I'm
number one.
This is
or is it like relative to fitness?
If you were gonna program the open, how important are they?
Yeah, it's a good way of looking at it.
I'd say I'm with you on 3. If you want to do like, is it how important it is to fitness? I'd probably say 4. But I'm with you on 3.
I think they need to show up. I actually don't like 1 rep max nearly as much. Like I always thought we should do like a 3 rep max or something because that's more broadly like fit.
Well, I just take it as a max of some sort.
Yeah.
You kind of need it to decipher with only 3 workouts. You almost need it just to
balance the tables a little.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it's important. I think it gets overplayed, but it's important.
I agree.
All right, next one. The shuttle run.
I think 4. It's definitely more. It sucks with how close it is to wall walks. I think it's way more important. Like running in general is more important.
No. I think we're good. I think it's better than wall walks.
I wish it wasn't close to wall walks because it's by far and away way better than wall walks.
All right. You guys are agreeing this time. I don't know if I like this. The thruster.
2.
Okay. I was gonna say 1, but like I feel like bar facing burpees is the next one because I feel like burpee has to be here.
In here.
Yeah. And
so is thruster more important or is burpee
I think thruster and burpees are like the 2 greatest movements of all time. I really do.
Which one do you like more though?
Probably thrusters. But I'm willing to say that I'm biased. No. I'm willing to say I'm biased. But it has a lifting element to it. Mm-hmm. Bar facing burpees doesn't. It's very cardio taxing.
Yeah.
And
I like thrusters 1 then.
I think you get fitter if you just did thrusters versus if you just did burpees.
100%. So 1. You're gonna screw us.
It is not burpees.
Damn it.
Double unders.
Not double unders.
Rowing.
Ring muscle ups.
This was good.
Oh, no, I'm great with it. Let's go. Yeah. I mean, okay. Looking at the list, because ring muscle ups is such like a novelty.
It's a niche thing. Yeah. I like 1 rep max over ring muscle
ups. I think I agree. You'll just see it more. It's more.
Our top 3 is good.
It's more open to the public. You know, like everybody can do. Ring muscle ups are going to show up at the end of a workout every other year.
Yeah.
And, 80% of the people can't do them. So, but I'm fine with our list.
I like the list.
I'm glad we put thrusters number 1 because it'd be trash if ring muscle ups were number 1.
Yeah. We saved ourselves right at the end. That was a good thought.
I used to hate 1 rep max. And if you go watch Death by this week, I can't remember who it was, did not like, I think maybe Chase, or a lot of them were not a fan of it. The problem is this is for the community. And I think
Chase wasn't a fan
of the leaderboard. Nobody cares about skewing
Chase
the leaderboard.
Chase has said every single time he can that he
when the top 25% advance and the open doesn't matter for the elite, make it for the individuals and let them go.
Yeah.
Do a lift and have fun and throw a big weight up.
I recently redid.
That's a good thought, Ryan. Instead of like the gated workouts where you're done in 8 minutes.
Right.
Yeah. Let them
save that for quarterfinals.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
The open doesn't. Anybody that's going to semifinals, it doesn't matter.
No.
Right. So let's let people throw on a lot of weight. Cheer them on, especially when you have that one guy or girl that can throw up huge weight and it's at the end of a workout as a part B. Let them try to set a PR, or anybody sets a PR, even if it's not huge weight. And that's a great moment, just like getting your first ring muscle up. Like Agreed. Both of those. Why not? Right? Like if you're on that cusp of making quarterfinals and you get your first ring muscle up, fantastic. But to avoid it because the masses can't do it, I think is a disservice.
What year was it? 2015 it first showed up?
It was, which
when it was the first movement of a workout. Is that what happened?
No, it was
it was the first point. It was like 15.2 and then 15.2.
Oh no, that was the 90 double unders and 150 wall balls and then 9 ring muscle ups.
I can't remember what the first part was. I just remember the lift. It was clean, right? It was
wait. Oh, I thought we were talking about ring muscle. You're talking about 15.1, 15.1A, the clean and jerk?
Yeah.
It was like a 12-minute AMRAP of snatches, deadlifts, and toes to bar, and then you had 7 minutes to do a max clean and jerk. It was something like that.
Yeah, 15.1 was 9-minute AMRAP, 15 toes to bar, 10 deadlifts, 5 snatches.
Yeah,
and then 15.1A was a 1 rep max clean and jerk for 6 minutes.
I remember
one of the better open announcements.
Yeah. I remember how weird it was to shift gears from the snatch to the clean and jerk. Like it was like my body was like stuck in snatch mode. But I remember that year because there were like weightlifting dudes who like basically didn't do the first part and then just did B and screwed up the leaderboard. And now that we're doing the top 25%, it doesn't matter. So I like what you're saying now, that it's just like, it's just a moment now that you have in the gym, which is great. Everybody's cheering you on. Yeah, I totally agree with this then.
Yeah, it was interesting because so Morning Chalk Up had an article, they misquoted and said that a heavy lift had never been done in the first workout.
True.
That was wrong. Or the first week, I guess they probably would say.
Yeah, first week. That's
and so I put a question out there on my stories. Has it ever been programmed? 64%, 966 people said no, it had never been in the first week. Only 36% actually knew that. So
it's not a hard question either. I don't feel like it's that hard of a question.
Yeah, because this would have came to mind, and I would have second guessed myself and been like, "Which one was that?"
You know how I think they should do max outs? Like what I think would be a good way to do max, or is the year this year that did it was 2018, 18.2, and then 18.2A. I think it's how they titled it, where you had 12 minutes total. And then you got your workout time, which was like a sprinty sprint. It was like 10-to-1 dumbbell squats and bar facing burpees.
Yep.
And then the remaining time, max clean. So you had to do that workout before you got to max clean.
That was one of the responses to people sandbagging the workouts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I just think that was very well done because it was the elite athletes were done in 4 minutes. If you were pretty darn fit, you could be done in like 5. And if you weren't fit, you'd be done in like 9. And you'd still have time. Like I remember most of the gym being able to do a clean.
Yeah. You'd have a shot. No, I think that was it. And I don't think it's the wrong thing to have it first anymore.
You mean as the first part of the workout, or just
or to have it as the first week, to have a heavy lift?
No, me either. I mean, now that it's top 25%, like kind of all breaks are off. You can kind of do whatever.
And who cares if you get a weightlifter to come in and try to win 0.1A?
Yeah. No, it only
extra $20
content
to CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
I agree.
All right, good job, guys.
Thanks.
I was curious where you guys are going to put wall walks, but
did you ever suspect
you got your answer pretty fast?
Being upside down, I wasn't sure how you guys were going to. I didn't realize that John hated them so much.
I don't hate them. It's just
I thought you might.
I don't like
edge
them
and say it's 3 or 4, not knowing what was going to be behind it.
No, there's
a trick.
I like them. They're actually good in workouts for me. I don't like them as a test.
They always just feel like they're in the way.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel like they're a part of the workout. They're just an annoyance every time.
Yeah. If you program them, I would much rather you just program burpees, because like burpees suck and they hurt way worse. And so it's like I want you to have to go through that hurt with me. Whereas wall walks, like John said, they're just in the way.
Yep.
That one workout with the double unders in the wall walks where it got escalating, you got to 21 wall walks in a row.
Yeah.
Dude,
that sucked.
It's like, what am I doing here, man? Like you get to 10 and then you got 11 more and you're just like, this workout sucks, bro. Like I'm not even tired. I just can't go. I just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting here not tired, but like my shoulders are falling off. Like, I mean, that's cool. Like I'd much rather do handstand push-ups or handstand walk. Like it's just.
I liked it in that year because it was a gut check, because we had all quit doing them. Like you basically, no one had ever done them in a workout. And then it was like, hey, you need to, kind of be prepared for anything. And then it was like all of us handstand walkers are like, why didn't you just do handstand walk? And then we all got hit in the face.
Yeah. And I mean, like, what's funny is, and I don't mind this at all when they do this. I don't mind it at all. But like when they introduce a new movement, it's like, boom, like 55 wall walks. Like just like this ridiculous amount.
Yep. All right. So we talked about this a little bit last week when they announced that the Masters CrossFit Games was going to be on Labor Day weekend, the same weekend as the Teenage CrossFit Games that had been announced, I think, a week earlier. So Bob Jennings, one of the founders of Legends, who's now in charge of running the Masters CrossFit Games. You'll see him there up in the little insert up there. He's on the left. Jason Grubb was on the right on Jason Grubb's podcast. And Bob gave some insights into what kind of transpired to get where we are to last week's announcement. So I wanted to walk through that, kind of get your guys' take on what's been going on there. I think it is somewhat interesting on how things have been pulled together, and maybe not the best execution by CrossFit's part. So we'll take a look here. All right. So the first part here, Bob talks a lot about finding a venue and the difficulties of that. So let's take a listen.
Finding a venue that has the capacity to handle 450 plus individual athletes, and now of course we're throwing in 50 teams on top of that, so there's another 200 athletes on top of that. Finding something in the right date and time frame and the right price range, and all of the things that go into that is it's a full-time job, man. Like, no doubt about it. It takes a lot of effort to find the right place to have an event like this. And it was a struggle. I mean, it really, honestly, it was a struggle. What you don't realize kind of behind the scenes is it really takes about 2 years to lock in a site.
2 years to lock in a site. And when was this announced? Right after the games?
Mm-hmm.
So you put these guys in a disadvantage right off the bat. Go find a venue. And you have certain time parameters. I'm sure they would get told a month or two after the games is all the best you can do, or look for it in September.
Do we believe that 2 year that seems a little extraneous?
I bet it's
I
over
could
a
see
year.
a
I bet it's a
year-
year out. I bet it's over a year out.
Over a year, I could see 2 years. Right. Because I know you have to deal with, usually there's city stuff you have to deal with, and boards and all that crap. You have to meet with them, and that you have to go court the site and negotiate price and all that stuff. But like 2 years seems like a long time.
My guess is it's somewhere. If you get closer to 2 years, you have more of a selection of where you want to actually go. Right when you get closer to that
to go
year,
to Birmingham.
Birmingham's great, right?
Yeah, it's a good site. I mean, like, I think when people hear Alabama, they think it's weird. But like, if you've been to Birmingham, and especially that site, it's dope.
I've not been to that site, but I've been to Birmingham. It ain't that dope.
Yeah, I'm not. The site itself might be. Now, this is not the Healthplex that we thought it was. This is a different. It is not the Healthplex. This is like the BJCC. Some big convention center.
Mm-hmm.
That does have an arena. We'll get to that in a minute. But this is not the mega Healthplex with a swimming pool and all that stuff. This is a different venue. They announced it after they did the first announcement last week. I feel like it was a mistake to spin these off and give everybody such a little amount of time. Mm-hmm. And I think the pit team has always been on Labor Day weekend. So this is where it starts to overlap. Next, they talk about the difficulties of programming for 400 plus athletes. Let's take a listen here.
A little bit, right? But so here's kind of the criteria when you step through it. So we need something big enough that we can do 3 fields of play at the same time, right? In order to effectively move everyone through a games level championship, right? Which is going to be 8+ events, 450 athletes, competing through that. You need to be able to operate 3 fields of play at the same time. Otherwise, you're looking at scenarios where you're working out at 8 a.m., you're working out at 5 p.m., you're working out at 8 p.m. And like, that's terrible athlete experience, right?
So 3 fields of play. That's more than what we had in Madison. Am I wrong?
All I know is
unless you consider the
makes
bike.
You work out at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and people still keep coming.
Hell, Wadapalooza has 4?
I'm just saying,
No,
like,
3.
we were up for a long time this year.
If you include the offsite events, so the bike or the run at Wadapalooza, but then if you include the bike or the run at bike and the run at the games, it's sort of 3. So yeah,
but you start to limit yourself, right? Like, that's one of the reasons why
it could take a while.
The CrossFit Games picked the Dickies Arena, right? It's one field of play.
Sure.
So definitely not easy for that. He does go on to talk about the window, which I think the dates that he selected, which I think is really interesting. Here we go.
Just to be there. So you kind of wrap all that up together, and then it's like, okay, here's the date window that we have. And unfortunately, the only one that we could secure was on the same weekend as the teenagers. But in an ideal world, and planning going forward, that won't be the case in future years, right? I think Dave alluded to that in their press release. Like, we've already started working on 2025. So, it's nobody, at the end of the day, nobody really wants that to happen. There are definitely some logistical challenges potentially for some coaches, right? But you're talking about edge cases here at this point.
So that kind of answers I think it sounds like really had very little choice when they were actually trying to find the venues. And they went in a lot more detail if you want to watch the podcast or listen to it on Spotify. Like, they had a limited amount of places they could actually pick because of the timing that they had. And, he talks about the cities getting to it, especially from international places. He talked about how Birmingham actually wants them there, right? Versus going to a place like Los Angeles where you wouldn't even know that you're there. So, and it sounds like he ended up having to make a decision so they would actually be able to announce it before the Open. So they signed that contract last week, right before they made the announcement. Like, it had not been finalized. And I guess the good news is it will be separate in 2025, sounds like. So, what do you think about actually just combining the age groups, having one big competition?
I wouldn't have a problem with it. I think it would solve a lot of problems. But if you're going to use Pit Teen Throwdown as the teen games, like I think you'd have to have, like, there needs to be a mediator to combine the two, because I mean they're pretty off to the side by themselves, like their own entity. And I don't know, and maybe they'd be for it, but I don't know if they would be for it or not. It's not like you could just take that away from them. You know what I mean?
Why don't you? What would be the case against them not just doing it anyway?
Or working together, collaborate. Like,
the
two of them just saying, let's find one venue. It's got to be
one
cheaper.
Big venue that we both will contribute to for sure. Right. I think it'd be awesome.
I can't think of a reason why that wouldn't make sense other than
we have more people
two crews kind of running over each other, that could get hectic. And then there's the namesake of it. Well, it's like, okay, there's going to be
just age group CrossFit Games, CrossFit Games,
yeah.
age groups.
Yeah, but then it's like, I would imagine that these two groups bid for these, or like the Pit Team and the Legends, they were like, well, we want this.
I don't know if there's much bidding. You mean bidding for the host,
owning the age, owning their portion of the age group, like, and then so you
that's
get
what
into
I'm saying.
weird,
You have to mediate those two.
Yeah, right. I could see that being the issue, but if you got past that, like as far as cost goes alone, you would save.
You share the broadcast cost, you share the venue cost, you share a lot. I mean, all the judges, you only have to get a few extra judges in one location, one weekend.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot less things that have to be done. By doing that.
I agree.
Travis, collectively, I do a booth. Separately, nope. Hiller is catching up, but with that rule of throwing somebody.
I said that, Andrew. Whenever you catch up.
Yep, he'd be off the hook tomorrow.
Oh God, he's about to go off about Rich Froning's
I think you have a few minutes, but it's coming. And then the last piece of it. So if you make it all the way through 36 of the 39 minutes, I think this is the most important piece that Bob brings up. And if you are a Masters athlete, most likely if you are a teen athlete or an adaptive athlete, participation is very important. So here we go.
Right. But I would say more importantly, it's the quarterfinal and the semifinal participation. We do have a financial arrangement where we are receiving, money from CrossFit HQ that is tied to participation in the quarterfinals and semifinals. Right.
Okay.
So, the more Masters show up, and you want to make your voice heard as a Masters athlete or someone who wants to support the Masters community, make sure you sign up for the quarterfinals, man. Like there's nothing more important than that. That is the single best way for you to have your voice heard, and the single best way, quite frankly, for us to throw the best event we can for you.
There you go.
This is going to sound harsh, but there's nothing like begging for your constituency to show up to sound strong.
I mean, Chase has said this before. Like the Master, people have said before, like Masters is where their money is. Like people spend, like they would spend money. And Chase was like, y'all don't show up.
Yeah.
Like we've tried, we've invested more in Masters before. There's no money there. People don't watch it. You don't go perform. Like it's the same people over and over again. I couldn't agree more with him. Like if you want to support your community, support your community.
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that they have to beg though.
I don't either.
I don't think it's begging. I didn't take it as begging. I don't think anybody knew, right? So if you know that the money you put in towards quarterfinals goes to
your event,
to the Legends team that's running this thing, if you're 24th
it's good to know
percentile, you may sign up for it because you want to support it and you want to see it succeed.
Yeah. I agree with 100% with Brian. Like I don't think people don't know where if they just think their money goes to headquarters, and like that can be a reason not to spend money. If you know your money is going to support the event that you're trying to go to eventually or whatever, 100%, I think people support that way more. I think it's good that it was said.
Yeah, I think, I don't know what Ken's saying, only 5 game spots. Now they have up to 40 in the 35 to 39 group. Jeffrey Birchfield, yes. So they have confirmed it's the same prize purse as $10,000 for winning your age group. I think 5 for second and 3 for third or something like that. So yeah, it's out there. But again, top 25% make it to quarterfinals. We always see a small percentile, half, something like that, sign up. If you really want to support them, go go sign up. Right? Like it's not going just to headquarters to go fund the elites. Like I think a lot of them were thinking. And so yeah, go check that out. And then just go on to Jason Grubb's in YouTube. It's called Masters in Motion. You can see it on YouTube, also on Spotify. It's as a standalone podcast. But the whole thing is there. It was published 5 days ago. Again, only 752 people watched. Right. So like
the word's not out.
He's the number one Masters athlete, I think. At least it's most vocal out there, and he gets 752 views on YouTube. Watching our viewership right now, we've gone from 200 to 160 as we've talked about this segment. So you can see people loved Everest and blind rankings, and I talk about Masters and everybody runs. So go support the Masters if you really care.
Why do people hate old people, man? I gave them their own retirement home.
I gave charity.
John, big 305 snatch. Are you on the
I've not been tested yet. I could be juiced to the gills. I'm not fit enough to be tested, Barry. Maybe one day.
It'll be a mark of honor once you finally are.
Oh, it will be. I'll be so happy. I'll put it all over Instagram. I will put it all over Instagram.
Frame it. Frame your test.
I'll put a Ricky Bobby quote. Like I wake up in the morning and I piss excellence, and this will be my P cup. And that's it. It's gonna be great.
All right. Last segment, Betting with the Boys is back. We got 3 new ones. For sake of time, we'll hold off on the punishment for next week, but we'll go through these 3 before we end it for the night. So again, the 3 of us are going through. We'll put our picks in. We're running this through the games of 2024. We'll add up how many we get right, how many we get wrong, and we'll see who is actually the best. And then we'll have a punishment for the loser that will be determined soon. So the first of the 3 this week, Tyler.
Question number 1. Who wins 24.2, Colton Mertens or Justin Medeiros? They announced this today. I'm, first of all, very surprised that they're announcing it this far ahead of time. Anybody else? Earlier. Yeah.
But we still don't know where. We don't know where anything else is.
It's at Justin's house.
We don't know that. I mean, nothing's been announced. Yeah, speculating.
But they should make Justin go to Iowa and do it in the barn. That's what I think.
It's a nice barn.
Yeah.
I hope Colton starts throwing some trash talk towards Medeiros as well. That'd be pretty fun.
That would be fun. It's hard. I wanted to pull up metrics on Medeiros versus Colton 1-to-1, and especially in the frame of like the Open. But I don't think they're gonna throw Colton a curveball. Come on, Lynn, catch up. What do you guys like, Colton or Justin?
I like Colton.
I'm saying Colton, man.
I obviously it's going to be workout dependent.
Now, if it comes out with rowing and wall balls and Medeiros just wins, I can't help you. But if it's freaking any like barbell and burpee moving thing, like I don't think he's beating him. And Colton's just got fitter, man. I feel like he's getting fitter, and Justin is not as fit. So,
and I know it's an open announcement, and the athletes don't sandbag on the Open, but there's also different ways of training through it. And Medeiros clearly has a plan for this year, like he had last year. Right? Again, like he'll go out and he'll try his hardest in the Open, but if he doesn't come out and he's not the best that he could be, and he gets beat by Mertens, like, okay, like I'm not that
whatever.
I'm not that big. Colton, he wants to win that. He wants to go the next week. He wants to beat Taylor. Like he just has that personality where he wants to win everything.
Well, also he has more to win than Justin has to lose. So like you said, if Justin doesn't beat Colton, it's like, okay, big deal. Colton's sort of built for the Open in a lot of ways. Like I'm not peaked, blah, 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 blah. But if Colton beats Justin, that's a lot better for him. Also, he has that to prove that he can. So it's like, I do like Colton for this. I was going back and forth, like, because we don't know what each other's going to say, right?
No.
I was like, is it ever okay if we all say the same thing?
For sure.
Just a wash. We'll see if we all miss it or we all get it right.
Colton did beat him in the Open last year.
Overall?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Kenneth DeLapp, I'm hoping it's that proven.
Nope.
You need to wait.
It's not Kenneth.
It is not.
Sorry. I've already said where it was. We just can't say it out loud.
Well, I can't see them flying Justin out and asking Colton to come out for that. You know,
Why?
versus
they fly all 4 to week 1, wherever that is.
Oh, that's true.
They'll fly them out, but it's not them.
I have a theory about week 1
What's the
that I
theory?
will reveal in the next question.
Okay.
All right.
So we're all three going.
We're all picking Mertens. It's a wash.
So
Yeah.
nobody makes points on that. That's fine.
All right. Number 2 for Bettin with the boys. Will there be a new movement in the Open?
I am going to. Can I answer first?
Yeah.
What are our? So my thought on choice answers were 0.1,
Yes or
0.2,
no?
0.3, or not at all.
That's fine.
Oh, like when?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I think your official answer should be no or yes, and then you can get bonus points if you call it.
I like
Okay,
that.
fine.
It's like a 2-parter.
Yeah. And like that bonus one does not count against you, obviously, if you
Just
don't
for you.
call it. It's just
Right.
if you can call it. Yeah.
Yep.
Parlay, all
Yeah.
or nothing.
All right. I am going to say yes, and it
Okay.
will be in week 1, and that movement is going to be bench press. And here is why I say this. Okay. And
All right,
like,
let's hear it.
and
You just lost points, bro. What are you doing?
do you know the workout already?
No, I don't know anything.
No.
All right, listen, this is why. And like I understand this is a freaking moonshot, like 99% chance I'm wrong. But Dave Castro said it was going to be the most unique Open announcement or blah, blah, blah workout that we've ever had. It's beautiful. They got Alex Kazan doing the Open announcement, who's known to bench press a little bit of weight. And what is it? And there's no equipment list. And the reason, like, if there was no equipment list, it all kind of makes sense that they're going to show us up with the bench press. Okay. And so listen, what I'm predicting is I'm
Open
predicting
Linda.
like, no. I'm predicting just bench press with 135, 85, something like that.
Mhm.
And then like rowing and something else, dumbbell snatch or burpees or whatever, or just rowing and bench press, but like
That'd
an
be
AMRAP of some sort with rowing and bench press, because you got freaking Fikowski, who's an amazing rower, and you got Alex Kazan, who's an amazing bench presser. You got Alexis Raptis, who should be good at bench press because she's good at handstand push-ups, and I feel like CrossFit would make that connection. Probably not though. And then Adler's obviously, super strong. I'm probably super wrong, but I'm just trying to connect the dots. And if I call it, it's like one of the greatest calls of all time, right? So I'm going to say it's going to be bench press in week 1.
I like that for a workout, actually. Like, it would be fun to do.
But it's
A
not gonna
push
be
in
it.
a pool,
But it's
make
not
him
going to be
special.
it. It's not going to be it. Also, dumbbell Linda would be dope. 50s and 35s.
It's hard to do dumbbells because, like, I feel like the standard would be hard to judge.
Why?
I think
Because
some people won't hit their chest.
You could
I see
point
what
it
you're
and
saying.
Bench press is very obvious. I'd be fine with it. It's just I feel like that standard would be hard to manage.
Yeah. I just think about it as
we're
a
not
workout
reviewing
in
anything
general.
in the Open, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with no, not at all. I don't think we're going to see a single new Open movement this year.
So I have to say yes, because my fight gone bad prediction last week. So sumo deadlift high pull will be
in the open.
I hope not. Yeah. That's 5. So that's 6. If sumo deadlift high pull is in there, that's 6 on the blind rankings. Gosh, sumo deadlift high pull. That's a terrible.
You just got to get the bar to your collarbone.
What ranks higher in blind rankings or open movement? Wall walk or sumo deadlift high pull?
Wall walks.
I think I have to go with sumo deadlift high pull.
No, bro. That's terrible.
I think it's going to happen. Again, it was something different. It's in the
L1.
Well, it's also just in your profile on your games profile. So that's one of the benchmark workouts. So I think that's what it's going to be. So I had to say it. And the last one.
I tell you, hold on. What, if it is bench press, I'm going to do everything I can to get Brandon Luckett to go live with me on bench press. Everything I can. Because that's going to be like the only thing that I have a shot that's not a max out weight.
Do you have a call on week spin?
Yeah, week 1.
Okay. So we have 2 week 1 votes.
Yeah. All right, last one. Which week will have a 2-part workout if there is a 2-part workout? So week 1, 2, or 3, or not at all.
John.
I'm going to say not at all.
Ooh.
I am going to agree.
Oh, man.
I think that CrossFit's not going to listen to this podcast, and they're not going to think about how valuable it is to have a lift in the open now.
Well, they'll do the lift and bench press in week 1.
Yeah, but a maximal lift.
Yeah, a max lift.
Because that's what a part 2.
You got 5 minutes to do max bench press.
A part 2 to me always means. I mean, you could do it. Yeah, you could do a secondary workout, but I don't think they would do that. Although it would be cool, I could see that happening in the quarterfinals. But I just don't think they're gonna consider that it's a good thing to have a maximal lift in the open anymore, and they're gonna dump it.
I like Brian's thought though of like it's a community thing. Everybody can max a lift. Everybody can PR. You know what I mean? And then you just make gated workouts quarterfinals because you got a lot to sift through anyway, and max outs just lead to specialists, right?
Why don't you go ahead?
No, go ahead, Tyler.
Why don't you think there'll be a max lift, John? Or part 2? Sorry.
I just think we've had a part 2. I don't know. I don't think they'll do it 2 years in a row. I just don't.
I'm going to say yes. As I'm listening to you guys, what if they did a 2-part workout that's not a lift as part B?
Like I said, I love that.
Is max bar muscle ups.
So what if they do a workout where it is for an AMRAP for 7 minutes, and then your next one is the time it takes you to do the next one, or do a time for the second, like do some type of AMRAP.
So 2 straight workouts.
I could see it flipped, AMRAP into a time.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you know what I could see? You remember that workout where it was you did like 3 rounds of snatches and bar facing burpees, and then you rested 3 minutes, and then it was 3 rounds of 10 bar muscle ups, 10 bar facing burpees. Remember that open workout?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If each one of those was a score, like they do something similar to that, but each one was a score. And like this is before, that was your tie break before. And like maybe it's a little bit longer, right? So say like 5 rounds of that and 5 rounds of the other one, right? Because that way they're not just sprints. But I could see that. And then how much do you want to send it on that first one? Because it's going to hurt you in the second one, right? So
right. And I'm going to say if they do something like that, it'll be week 3. A 2-part.
I think it always has to be week 3, right? If you do that, not a max lift, but like if it's the 2 different workout ones, it almost has to be week 3.
Yeah. Well, I think CrossFit should do it the first week, like we talked about. Like I think it does get some extra people to do it just because they want to try to do a max lift and then get more out in the community. We know Dave's not watching this, so he'll never hear it. our buddy Keith can't tell anybody at CrossFit anymore. So, yeah, it won't get back to anybody. It's probably already set in stone, but they should have done it week one.
Me and Emily have tied.
Okay. Well, tell Emily.
What if they did two Metcon piece?
Look at that. My number one fan. And
is that
a new
really
member.
Roderick?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
It's Roderick. It is.
I like his stuff. He doesn't follow me though. I followed him twice since he followed me, and he doesn't.
All right, Roderick, go follow John Young CrossFit.
Don't do it out of spite.
And JY Barbell.
I saw him at the games too, and I kind of gave him a nod, and he didn't acknowledge me. I don't think he likes me. I don't know why.
Yeah. John Young CrossFit.
It's on the screen, man. Oh, it's not on the screen.
No, it ain't.
No, I don't
Not
have
on this one.
John Young
So there you
CrossFit.
go.
So there we go. 2 no's and a
And
week
yes,
1.
I think they'll do something different. So
Nice.
he's too busy making some memes. You got to come up with a meme idea, approach him, make it a good one. And
My Travis Kelce meme was amazing.
Oh, I need to bring that up.
What is your Travis
Stand by.
Kelce meme? I can't believe you, John.
See,
If
Tyler
this has
doesn't follow.
Taylor Swift, in it, I'm not coming
No,
back.
Ryan helped me with it.
Yeah, this was I had to help.
Because I don't know how to make
That's
anything.
not true. I saw your snatch.
Let's see.
Well, everybody saw that. I mean, you do something like that, it makes the right rounds.
So how about you throwing down with Luckett for real though? I got Keith for pushing.
It depends on the workout. I know you do.
What's going on here?
All right.
God. Oh, I did see this. See, look.
He didn't remember it.
You would have scored a touchdown if JY Barbell did your strength program. That's exactly what Taylor was telling Kelsey.
That's why it was a secret.
I lost one of my props on him on accident. I had it that he would have scored a touchdown. It was an accidental prop, but prop nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think if weights are not involved, Brandon Luckett would beat me in almost anything.
Gotta hope it there.
Now, if weights are involved, like I think it depends.
If it gets super heavy, I think you have a shot.
Yeah, no, I think I can beat him if it gets super heavy, but that would be the only way.
Yeah. I want to see you do was it a gated workout with the increasing cleans? This is the one that Dan Bailey
Dude, I would love
did when he miscounted.
16.2.
Yeah.
16.2, 19.2.
Yeah.
That's a lot of toast bar, but I.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know what workout? I can finish is 17.3. The chest to bar snatch one.
Yeah.
So it goes like three rounds of 6.6 with 95, 3 rounds of 7.5 with 135, and it keeps going up snatches. And it ends at 265. That I would love to say I could finish the clean one, but I don't know if I'm fit enough. Like that's so many toast bars.
Right.
I think I can, but I haven't done it. You know what I mean?
I hate that workout because that was a year that it was like people who were doing singles. It was like, Hiller walking on the shuttle runs. It was like if you did singles on the toes bar, there was a good chance you could get past a lot of people who were doing touch and goes on toes to bar.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, memes for time.
There it
Is he
is.
blowing you? Is that all that noise? God.
Hey,
Yeah,
just a shout out.
He's just blowing me up right now.
Real quick, for those who don't know, Meme for Time just gave out an affiliate fee, $4,500. Wired the money to an affiliate who won a contest. So
What? That's crazy.
Yeah, he had a contest. I can't remember exactly how it was done. I think it was like message me for some special surprise, and he got, I can't remember how many, 20 affiliates or something like that, emailed him, put him into a drawing, and had people vote. He sent $4,500 to one of their guys.
Still
So
going.
He's just
really cool stuff over
commenting
there.
on all of
at
my
Lean for Tony.
posts now.
So yeah,
That's really cool. That's really, really
yep.
cool.
Head over to his broadcast channel, sign up for that. Also sign up for the Barbell Spins broadcast channel if you want to get news faster. That's posted on there with a link to the website every time I post an article of anything that means anything. So you get it before you see the algorithm hit it. But
I thought that was such a bad idea in the beginning, and now I'm like, God, broadcast channels make a whole lot of sense.
it heads to your DM. So if you want, some people abuse it, but yeah, I try to just put out some news. So anyway, thanks again, guys. Go head over to GoWad, Thirdsy, and ESC Sounds, great supporters of the podcast, the show. So trying to figure out how to win a Tesla. Okay. Oh, watching Mr. Beast. Anyway, again, we're back up to 180 watching. So again, we we talk about Masters, it goes down 20, 30, 40 people, and then we go back to
The last 2 minutes has been about nothing. We've just been rambling.
and we're still beating that. So all right, guys, until next week, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.